We are live recording. Good morning, Powur Hitters. Happy Tuesday, part of our team training series every week, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to hand this right over to two amazing sales professionals that I have the pleasure of working with, Jarrett McAllister and Haines. They have lots of sales experience. Jarrett McAllister has over 20 years in sales. One of the best salespeople that we have on the team. He really pushes for the sale, which you'll get to see. He comes from home security background, and he consistently puts up 6, 7, 8 deals per month, really finding his groove, building his team to over 15 to 20 people right now. So from Northern California, and Zach is one of his mentors under him, right? So building your team, getting mentors under you, that's the real golden ticket here. And Zach has been amazing. He brings a wealth of real estate knowledge. He's a realtor, and they're both located in Northern California. So with that, Jarrett, the ball is yours, my friend.
Thank you very much, my friend. And welcome everybody to this week's edition of Powur Hitters Sales Training. Last week, I think, was a tremendous success, kicking it off with JC and Brunasso and really setting the tone and the vibe for our sales organization and getting started. That was kind of the theme, getting started. I know it can be kind of overwhelming when you first jump into Powur, but, bottom line is we're a sales organization first. Nothing works without us selling. And so I thought it's just important that we have sales training. Sales training doesn't matter, though, unless you can generate leads. So last week, just to recap, we talked about getting the bill, getting your first presentations. Whether you've been in solar for a long time or you're just starting, the mentorship program that Powur has set up is really beautifully laid out to where everybody wins, and it allows you to learn from the ground up. So last week you talked about just getting the bill, your circle of influence, knocking on doors, whatever it is, but just be laser focused on generating some electric bills. Once you get electric bills, then you can have presentations. And that's what we're going to do this week is we're going to go over the sales presentation, the mindset going into a sales presentation. And I'm going to be sharing the slide deck that I use when presenting solar as an option to a consumer. So my main man, Haines over here, he's actually going to be playing the role of the homeowner, kind of going through. And what I really want to do is just kind of break down the psychology into going into the sale, the different steps to a sale from beginning to end. And as we're role playing, we will stop in between little sections and just kind of talk about why we're saying what we're saying. As Brunasso mentioned, I've been doing sales, I say 20 years. I've been selling ADT for 20 years. I started selling when I was 13 years old, newspapers out at storefronts. I wanted to get my first PlayStation.
Little League candy bars.
Yeah. At 15 years old, I was running in a van crew. I was told that I could earn $1 off of every person I brought on if they sold a newspaper subscription. I was like, wow, if they did 10 sales, that's $10 I make, and 10 people, that's $100 a day I can make. That was my mindset at 15 years old. Since then, 18 years old, got into ADT. I was in the door knocking world forever. I knocked doors. Then I started running the van crews and been teaching inside sales for a long time. I've done everything from door to door to over the phone to now, which is my favorite, are virtual Zoom presentations, because it's set up for this COVID world that we're living in right now, for one, but two, I'm able to maximize. Like I've actually done more sales in Southern California than I have done in Northern California, which is crazy because I just get a lot of leads down there from my lead source. And here's another thing. I've never been in anyone's home. All the sales that I've done, I've strictly done Zoom presentations because I see the power of it. I can do a lot more Zoom presentations. It's interactive. than if I was traveling, which I've done, I did for years, driving an hour each way, 2 hours to a presentation that was set up from a telemarketing lead. So with that being said, yeah, looking forward to this training. We will open up for Q&A at the end of this. So yeah, hang on to your questions. And then Brunasso, if you want to monitor the chat bar, so if something does come in that's timely, please let me know, okay?
You got it.
Sounds good. So first thing, like I like to do when we start off our sales meeting, is to share any success stories that have come up on the team. So if anybody has anybody closed a sale this past week? Brunasso, excelente.
Yes, right here.
JC, excellent. Right on. If you would, really quick, JC, if you could tell us, how did you generate the sale and any objections that you had to overcome to close that sale?
Yeah, it was actually I met the guy many months ago when I was doing the new homeowner list. And he actually called me because of interestingly enough, a flyer that I think I might have mentioned this on the last week's call. I hadn't closed it yet. Excuse me. So anyways, between last week and this week, I went ahead and closed it via Zoom. And the only objection that he had was that he needed a new roof. And I told him, hey, no problem. We could go ahead and include that right into it. And you'll probably have a smaller payment when you include a new roof and the solar than what you're currently paying right now. And he couldn't believe it. When I showed him that that was indeed the case, he and his wife, he first declined by himself. Then we tried it again with him and his wife, and they qualified for $100,000.
Incredible, man. Congratulations. So give it up for JC closing that one. That's excellent. And I do remember you telling that story last week, and you said, hey, I haven't closed it yet, but I'm on the cusp. I'm on my way. And that just shows the power of the follow-up, right? Follow-up. And you guys, what we offer is a no-brainer. It really is. I mean, the fact that he's able to get a brand new roof and sustainable energy, produce probably more energy than he was already consuming for the same, or if not less than what his current electric bill is, that's a no-brainer decision. It's funny, though, that you mentioned you had to get with the wife, because that's one of the things that we're going to talk about here in setting up yourself for, a successful sale. So we'll get into that a little bit more. And then Brunasso, quickly, if you don't mind adding, you said you closed the deal. How did you generate, where did the sale come from? And then any objections that you had to overcome to get that sale?
For sure. Man, I'm trying to think of this recent one that I just did. Part of being a mentor, having good mentees, bringing deals and closing those deals. So I did just close one, though, in Moreno Valley, that it was a referral. And we presented it. And at first she was a little hesitant. They wanted a few days to wait on it. So I gave them a few days, and then they texted me Monday that they were ready to go. This was a referral that saw me on her loan officer's social media page, because I did a gal's solar like 2 years ago, and she's a big time mortgage lender. And she posted on her social media about me. That's the ultimate ticket. If you can get your clients to share a picture or share a story on their social media. So she finds me on her social media a year and a half later, and reaches out to me to get a quote. They just moved in, so I designed it appropriately. They don't want a big bill. They actually did not qualify for Sunlight Financial, so I had to pivot to Sonova. So work with a mentor if you want more information on Sonova. Their lending standards are a lot looser. But anyways, we signed it over the weekend. She's excited. They're excited. And that's just one, of many, many stories of success that everybody's having right now. Even Anthony Bonilla's recruiting and building a team. Isela just got her friend to be able to show them a proposal by asking the right questions. So many success stories going on.
Excellent. Great job, Brunasso. Way to close it. And another great part about that is that, he's closing a deal from a mentee, right? Which instills confidence as his mentee, gets them excited. They want to end up building a team. And, there's golden nuggets in here. One is that people ask about lead generation. Where do the leads come from? Where do the leads come from? One of the greatest lead sources you can do is a 2-for-1, and that's go after team members, right? Build your team. When you bring people on, their first 3 deals are with a mentor. So if you're if you are a mentor and you recruit, bring on new people, you're going to get at least 3 leads out of that, as long as they like you. They might pass it up to somebody else, but as long as they believe in you, you're going to get at least 3 deals out of that, and maybe more. Quickly, I'll just share a couple successes I had before we move on. One being is a brand new recruit that's part of our team. He currently goes door to door from a vertical market. He sells security, deals with new homeowners. He has set up 3 appointments this week that I'll be presenting on. And one of them yesterday went really well. He had Tesla already come out. They're going to be going back. We're going to be doing an apples comparison on Wednesday. That's one of the things I do at the end of a presentation. If I don't feel it can get closed right then and there, I do schedule the follow-up presentation right there on the spot. It's a Zoom meeting. We're getting back together so we can do comparisons. So that's very cool. And then I got another one tonight, another one tomorrow. So there's a lead source, right? So that's that. And then on another note, I have an installation going on today. And this comes from a customer who came from my ADT world, who was upsell, actually came from one of my mentees, Mike Miller. He sold, hold on, let me backtrack. He sold an alarm system, upsold him to a solar system. He got installed. He referred him over to Cameron Fulmonte, who's getting installed today, who then referred over his buddy at his office. And twice last month, I had called Mike. I said, hey, bud, remember that guy that we sold? We referred somebody else. I had a presentation with them, and I sold it. You should see about $5,000 coming to you. He didn't even do anything. And then I told him again, and I said, hey, we just closed another one off that same referral source. You got another $5,000 coming. And it was his birthday, and he said, this might be the best birthday present I've ever gotten in my life. So, so that's all good stuff, and that's being installed today. So positive things. Thank you.
Good job.
Excellent.
Actually got a pretty good success story on a recruit as well. So as Brunasso mentioned, I've had my real estate business for a while, about 11 years, and I closed a deal earlier this year where I was talking to the agent on the other side. And we were just talking real estate primarily, and I'm with EXP, which is the business model that Powur copied. So I was telling her about EXP and got her to join EXP. Well, then I started opening it up. Well, I also do solar. And she wanted to know a little bit more about that. So closed a deal with her real estate, recruited her on my team in Powur, and her first lead that she put in was we're both going to make $4,500 on that deal. And she's like, I could make almost a real estate commission or half a real estate commission in an hour. That's insane. So she's super stoked and happy to be on board as well. So you never know where you can actually find recruits from.
Awesome. Great job, Zach. Excellent. Does anybody else have something that they'd like to share quickly before we move on? I love sharing these success stories. It's very important.
I got 3 installs happening this week, and I onboarded a new consultant from Dallas, Texas, just this morning.
Yeah.
Nice, Anthony.
Right on, Anthony.
Drinks on Anthony.
Thanks to Brunasso and JC for being mentors.
You got it.
Right on.
And Paul. Paul Leon was from one of those 2.
Paul is the solar stud. He's the solar ninja, bro. Love that guy. So anyways, with that being said, excellent. Love hearing success stories. You know, success breeds success. Success leaves clues. That's why I think it's very important every week we do talk about our successes to help inspire others. So with that being said, let's move on to the topics of sales presentation. And so I put together a few tips going into a sales presentation. These are some of this is like no-brainers, but it's still good to talk about. And these are all things that you want to guarantee, make sure you practice and follow every single time. Number one is show up on time, right? Never show up late to a sales appointment, whether it's on a Zoom or you're going to an in-home appointment. 20 years ago, I learned of this guy named Patrick O'Sullivan. He was with the ADT Successful Sales Training organization. He came to our organization and taught us, and he said, show up 10 minutes and 32 seconds early to your appointment. And I was like, that's really weird. 10 minutes, 32 seconds early. Why would you do that? And the reason is, it's the same reason why it was $271 on a carpool ticket or a seatbelt ticket. It's because that odd number made you remember that. And that just instilled with me. I don't know why, but I was like 19 years old to this day. So I always show up early, show up on time. You are the professional. It really looks bad if you show up to a sales appointment late. So always, number one, be on time. 2, dress for success. And some people got to hear this. Practice good hygiene, right? So when you show up, look sharp, be professional, have a polo, button up, slacks. I know these days some people wear jeans and tennies, and you can kind of get away with it, but I've always believed, look good, look sharp, smell good. Don't overdo it with the cologne. Brush your teeth, comb your hair, all these things. Once again, this is kind of elementary, but it really, impressions everything, especially a first impression if it's a cold sale. Tip number 3 is do your research and be prepared. If you're going into a neighborhood, we're selling solar. We have the ability with the technology to look at their home, look at the neighbors' homes. Who has solar in their neighborhood? Are they the first on the block? Or are they the last ones to be getting solar, right? Or is it sporadic? Can you see it happening? These are things that you can talk to them about in their area. Also, look at their roof. Is their roof qualified? Are there huge trees that you're going to have to overcome? Do this kind of research. It's going to just set you up for success going into the sales meeting. Number 4 is huge. It's probably been one of, my greatest assets, and that's, led to a lot of success, and that's going in with a positive mindset. I truly believe mindset is everything in this world. You are a product of your mindset, your environment, and you guys have all seen the law of attraction. With a positive mind, you attract positive outcomes. And believe in yourself, envision the sale, go in there believing that you are going to close the sale. I did that. I had one of the highest closing percentages in the country. I was 90% closer on ADT appointments. That's unheard of. But yeah, I was closing 9 out of 10 deals that I would go in and talk to. But a lot of it had to do with my mindset, my confidence. But yeah, whatever you got going on in your life, and I know these days in 2020, we got a lot going on in our lives. But when we show up to work, it's about us being the professionals, shake it off, any BS that you got going on, and literally and laser focus in on your sale and in on your customer. And number 5, I cannot preach this hard enough, especially to people that are generating leads for you, your mentees, and even yourself. When you set up a presentation, make sure that both decision makers are going to be available for the sale, for the presentation, right? Last thing you want to do is a one-legged appointment. I've traveled all over the Bay Area, going on these telemarketing departments. I'm excellent at what I do, and I can be the best salesperson in the world and build all the value in the world. But if I show up there and I can do an hour-long presentation, at the end of it, if the wife or the husband wasn't there, as good as I am, they have an easy one, says, sounds great. If you could just leave your information here so that way I could talk to my wife or talk to my husband and we'll get back to you. I got to go over with them first. Now, I've overcome that many times, but it sucks. It's hard to do, and it's not always easy. And you're going to get rescissions and cancellations because you're convincing them to do something without talking to the spouse. at the very least, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to overcome, or you're going to have to redo the presentation. You're going to have to present twice, because as much as he thinks or she thinks that she knows the product, when they're presenting it to their spouse, they're going to ask questions that they don't know the answer to. They're not the solar professional. You are, right? So you are going to have a higher closing percentage as long as you can make sure that both decision makers are there, and just stress it, stress it, stress it. If they say, oh, you know what, it's okay, I make the decision, this and that, say, well, you know what, it's just actually best practice that you guys are both there. This is a big decision. When's the time, you know, that you and your wife both have about 45 minutes to kind of go over this information? And that's your first sale. Sell them on both of them being there at the same time. Does this make sense, you guys?
So Jarrett, someone said, how do you determine prior to the presentation who the decision makers are? Do we ask who's on the loan of the home? So basically, how do you flesh it out in the beginning?
Yeah, so, and that's just basically, you're kind of being straightforward and asking them. So, you know, if you're going door to door, if over the phone, I ask them, I say, hey, other than yourself, is there anybody else that you would be talking to about this decision? You know, I ask him, I try to get a feel. Are you married? You know, is your wife or your spouse going to be available for this time? No, she works during this time. It'll be just me. Okay, well, how about this? What I'd like to do is pick a time where you guys will both be there. It is a lot of information. This is an education session. So I'd like to so you guys can both understand how this works. You know, I work in the evenings as well. I'll find a time I'll work around your schedule. All right, so yeah, I just ask. Always just ask them.
Yeah, and just to add in, like Cynthia and I have closed many deals where it is just the husband or it is just the wife. So it's not that it doesn't happen, but you always want to try to push for it. Like Jarrett's saying, who else can be here? Who else can we share this with? What other decision maker? What time do you guys want to do the Zoom call where you can have a quiet space? You know, some of these types of questions are always great to ask. And at the end of the day, Gabriel, you do have to have someone DocuSign that's on title of the house. So ideally, at least one person is on the title of the house that is listening to the presentation.
That's so. Okay.
Thanks, Jarrett.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying that you can't sell without it. Do what you want, and you can present to only the husband or the wife all you want. That's up to you. I'm just letting you know for myself, I do everything in my power to have both decision makers right there. I come from a one-call closed background world, right? You show up there, you close it right there on the spot. And that's a lot easier to do if they don't have an out saying, I need to talk to someone. So those are my sales presentation pro tips, setting up the sale. Now, moving on to steps to a sale. So, you know, when you're doing a sales presentation, what you want to do is you want to set it up to where you handle all the objections leading or, you know, throughout the presentation, you're handling all the objections. So at the end, it's a very easy decision. It's a yes or yes. You know, they're not going to be coming across oh, I need to think about it, or I'm not sure, I want to check other, you know, companies out. If you do your presentation correctly, they really won't have any of these objections at the end, and that's going to help you with that one call close. So the steps that I put together, and this is just for me selling solar over this past year, is I've outlined it kind of like this, right? So step one, build rapport. And I cannot stress this step enough. It's when I learned about doing sales, they always had a star this first step, because nothing else matters if they don't like you, right? Have you guys ever been into a selling situation, or you go to buy something and the salesperson's rude, or you don't like them, or you're just not vibing with them? They could give you the best deal in the world and you wouldn't buy it for them. You couldn't get them to pay you to take it because you don't like the person that you're purchasing it from. You will go somewhere else just because of that one person. So in the beginning, take time to build rapport, find commonalities. If they got a kid, say, oh, how old's your child? Yeah, actually, I have an 8-month as well. Okay, you know, oh, I see that you got, you know, you guys went to Disneyland, or looking at pictures, and when did you guys go? Anything for commonalities. baseball, sports, neighborhoods, schools, music. Find commonalities and get them to like you. But it's not just about getting them to like you. Say, do I like them? Because if you've gotten into a situation where you feel like you like them, you're ready to move on to step 2. So step 1, build rapport with the person, take the time. Step 2, and that's agenda. An agenda is kind of laying out the rest of the steps, letting them know how this process is going to go forth. What you're also doing is you're setting up the close. You are letting them know that you're going to be asking for the order at the end of the presentation. So, you know, an agenda could go something along the lines of like, hello, Mr. and Mr. Jones. You know, thank you for taking the time with me. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be kind of telling you about my company, Powur Solar, and, you know, the difference between us and other companies. I'm going to talk about why going solar, and right now is the time. I'm going to explain how solar works. And then from there, I put together a proposal for you to go over that's custom for you and your home. And if everything makes sense, we'll be able to schedule a site survey, come out there, take a look at your roof. And that's where the magic happens, right? How does that sound? Does that sound fair? Great. So you just kind of explain to them how this is going to go, and you're telling them that you are going to be asking for their business at the end of the call or the presentation. And then the rest of the steps, and we're going to go through this, but it's, you know, you do a company story, you talk about why going solar, how solar works, building value. What if I sell my home? The bottom line, you hit them with the proposal, and then you ask for their business. So why do you hit them with these steps? And that's because I personally believe is that it handles all the objections that you see here on the right. So what is the number one objection that you hear in sales at the end? Anybody?
Think about it.
I need to think about it, right? Say, okay, hey, sounds good. Zach, I really appreciate your information. You coming over here. You know what? Give me some time. Give me a day. I don't make any decisions right there on the spot. I'm going to need to think about it. Well, I need to think about it is really a smokescreen objection. That's not the true thing. It's not that they just need to think about it. It may be partially true, but it typically means something more than that. So peeling back the layers of the onion, finding out what it really is. But usually it means a few different things. It's one, competition, right? So I want to check out, I want to get quotes from other companies. Two, I don't need it. You know, I just don't feel like this is something that I need, but they don't want to tell you that up front. Three, price. I can't afford it. It's too much money. They're not able to make the buying decision right there on the spot. Four, in this situation, I'm selling my home, right? So they don't think that solar is a viable option for them. And number five is they don't like me or trust me, right? I could have done the best job in the world, but if they don't like me or trust me, then I'm not going to get the sales. So it's important for you to lay out the steps, go step by step as you're going through the presentation. So each one, you can see which one handles which, right? So competition, a great company story in your pitch is going to handle the competition, right? Especially telling them that we're a broker, and you know, and the differences between Powur and other companies. Why go solar? Doing a needs analysis. When you're asking them why they're even having this presentation with you, you're having them tell you the reasons why they want to go solar. So you're knocking that out. Price, can I afford it? Well, when you're explaining how solar works and how they're going to be saving money every single month, you handle the price objection, right? And that they can't afford it. Selling my house. Well, during the presentation, you go through explaining what happens when you sell your home and you know, when you sell your house, how you can transfer the loan over and so forth. There are options of doing that. And then the last one, whether they like me or trust me, is all about building rapport in the beginning. Does that make sense? All right, good. You guys getting something out of this? Good. All right. So moving on, we are going to go ahead. And so I'm going to go through my presentation. I'm going to do somewhat of the Reader's Digest version for the sake of brevity and time. But then Zach, do me a favor and You be the homeowner and don't be too hard on me, buddy.
No promises.
All right. So one thing that I do is when I present, and I'll be pausing in and out, just kind of talk to you guys about the psychology of what I'm doing, is I started recently presenting with a battery. I'm not super stoked on batteries. Like, I don't sell them all that much, but presenting the solar with the battery gives me the option, allows me to do an option close at the end with the battery or without a battery, which is great because, you know, solar with the battery is awesome. They save a couple bucks. There's a lot of value there. But solar without a battery is great too, and they're saving a ton of money. Do I care if they get solar with a battery or without a battery? No. So, but if I don't offer them solar with a battery, my option is, do you want to go solar or do you not want to go solar? Right? So starting off with the battery, it gives you that option to come down rather than having nothing to step down to. So, Zach, the company that I represent is Powur Solar. We are the fastest growing solar company in the United States. We do business in 14 states, and we're the general contractor in 9 of them. Our competitive advantage, what really gives us the advantage over other companies, is that we are 98% virtual. We practically have zero to little overhead. And that does a couple things. One, it makes us extremely profitable, which is good for a solar company because you want us to be sustainable over the next 10, 20, 30 years. I can't tell you how many solar companies come up and flared up within a couple of years. So you want us to be there for these warranties. But two, that we're able to pass these savings on to the consumer, and that's where you win. We're also a broker, so we work with all the different installers in your area and find the best deal for you. We offer all the panels, all the products at the best pricing. So we really do the shopping for you. We're also an extremely green company, as a solar company should be. We are the only solar company that offsets 100% of emissions that are produced by solar. You know, obviously, solar is great for the planet, but when, there is still a carbon footprint to the production of the panels, the manufacturing, the transportation, the installation. Us as a company, we're actually committed to 100% offset of those emissions. So we are a company that you can feel good about. The other thing is our personal guarantees. So when we designed our company, we really designed it around the customer experience. Our personal guarantees are industry leading. 25-year power output guarantee, 12 to 25 years on the inverter, 10-year workmanship warranty, and 5-year roof penetration. And that was best of the best in the industry, but then we took it to the next level. And that's where we have now a 30-year warranty. That's bumper to bumper, front to back, with 0 deductible. Solar is a big purchase, and we know that putting our customers' mind at ease, knowing that if anything's to happen over the next 30 years, you are fully covered and you never have to come out of pocket. How's that sound?
Sounds pretty good. So there's no deductible?
0 deductible. That's correct.
Wow.
So you never have to worry about coming out of pocket if something goes on with your system. So nice peace of mind there, right?
Absolutely.
Got it. Yeah. So why go solar, Zach? Obviously there's several different reasons, from reducing your electric bill all the way to doing good for the planet in between. What are some of the reasons that you guys are looking to go solar?
Well, really just our electricity bill. We're working from home. And man, I got to tell you, Christmas is going to be light this year because we spent all our money on our electricity bill.
That's a bummer, bud. Christmas is going to be light. Well, hopefully it's just you and your spouse that wasn't able to make it on this appointment.
Yeah. Yeah, no, electricity bill, definitely want to look into that because, yeah, I keep hearing that PG&E is going to be raising the rates here again soon, and I just wanted to really understand what my options are. How could I protect myself there?
Yeah, well, saving money, that's excellent. And, you know, to be honest with you, that's why I would say the majority of our clients go solar is for the money saving aspect, you know, and obviously doing right for the planet is icing on the cake. So, you know, currently, you know, our main source of energy comes from dirty energy, coal, oil, gas, etc. It's kind of archaic, the old way of doing things. There is a global shift to, you know, move over to renewable energy. So much so that the government is starting to mandate it. I'm not sure if you're aware, but here in California, as of January 1st of this past year, it is now mandatory on all brand new builds to put solar on your roof. Now, whether you agree with that or not, I'm not a fan of mandating things, but that is just the way that they are, you know, doing it moving forward. And because of that, because they're starting to mandate it, the tax credit that's there, that they were financially incentivizing people to go solar, 30% last year, 26% this year. It goes down to 22% next year, and then it's gone. And it makes sense that it's going away, because why would they financially incentivize you to do something that they're starting to mandate? Does that make, you understand?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can get 26% if I go solar with you today?
No, so 26% was for everybody who got installed and had their systems turned on before the end of 2020. That ship has sailed. But in 2021, as long as you take advantage of it before the end of next year, you will be receiving a 22% tax credit. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
We can get into the tax credit later, but for right now, it is there before it goes away. And then rates are going up, and this is where you're kind of hitting them with the pain, right? You know, obviously rates are going up, you know, from what it used to be. It's almost doubled in the past 20 years, where before you're paying 11, 12 cents a kilowatt. Now you're up to 25, 26, sometimes even as high as 35 cents a kilowatt. And what they're doing now is they're switching everybody over to a time of use program where they're charging you the most when you're home, when you need the electricity. So when you guys come home from work and you're cooking dinner, and you're doing the laundry, running the dishwasher, as you can see here on this chart, they're charging as much as 39 cents per kilowatt hour. Do you know how much you pay per kilowatt hour?
About half my mortgage payment.
Sounds right. That's why we're having this call, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, when they're trying to get you, they're charging you the most during this time. But when you go solar, and if you have a battery, when you actually sell the electricity back to the electric company, you can sell it back. You can time it to sell it back at this time, at this rate, to take advantage of the time of use. And I'll explain that a little bit more later. So obviously the price of kilowatt hours are going up. And when you go solar, essentially what it is, it's like locking in your price of gas. So, you know, a gallon of gas is essentially like the equivalent to a kilowatt hour, the measurement. So Zach, let me ask you, if 20 years ago, I could have handed you this debit card, and every time you go to buy gas, you fill up, you'd pay 99 cents a gallon. You would take that debit card, right?
99 cents a gallon? Absolutely.
99 cents a gallon. So as price of gas keeps going up, you only pay 99 cents.
That would have been nice. Or were you
It would have been nice. Yeah. Well, when you go solar, that's essentially what you're doing. You're locking in your low kilowatt hour rate. And as those prices go up, up, and up, you're still paying that low rate, you know, over the next 20, 25 years until it's paid off, and then you're not paying for it whatsoever. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, and so how solar works, and I'm not going to bore you with this, most people understand. You have panels on the roof, generates electricity from the sun, which then sends it down to an inverter where it converts it from DC to AC, which then powers your home. Right? So you're using the power of the sun to power your home. There's only a few pieces to a solar system, no moving parts. You have your solar panels. Multiple panels put together is called an array. It is then placed on your roof with a racking system, low, thin, low profile. It's wired to an inverter. And like I said, from there, it converts the electricity and sends it into your home, which powers your home, to your battery where it stores the excess, or back to the grid. Now, what makes solar viable these days is what's called net energy metering. Have you ever heard of net energy metering or know how that works?
No, I haven't. What's that?
So PG&E put together a video that explains it. It's 2 minutes, 30 seconds long. I'm going to go ahead and play that for you that explains it. Does a really good job. Now, when I do this, I have this already set up on my presentation. This is a nice time for you to get a breather. And this video that I found does a great job of explaining net energy metering. I'm going to put this in the slide deck that you guys could all have at the end of this meeting. But I'm going to go ahead and play it for you guys right now.
Every day when the sun rises, tens of thousands of PG&E customers, more than any other utility in the nation, are proving the value of solar. They're saving money on their bills while helping the environment. If you're one of these forward-thinking homes or businesses, please accept our congratulations and thanks. Of course, how solar works for you may be different in some ways than how it works for your solar neighbors. It all has to do with how much electricity your system generates and how much you use on a daily, monthly, and annual basis. Sometimes customers produce more power than they use and send the surplus energy back into the grid. Other times, homes and businesses use more power than their solar panels can generate. So depending on how much energy your system generates and your consumption, you may end up with either a charge or a credit for the month at the normal rate. If you participate in a time of use plan, you can also export electricity to the grid when rates are higher and use electricity when prices are lower during certain periods, like at night. In this case, you may actually get a credit for the month even though you've used more energy than you've exported. The credits you accumulate in a given month can offset the charges you receive in other months. This is called net energy metering, or NEM. To make sure you have the full picture, PG&E sends you and every solar household both your regular monthly PG&E bill that includes a minimum electric service charge, as well as a NEM statement that gives you a monthly and year-to-date snapshot of your charges and credits. Then, every 12 billing months, approximately on the anniversary of your solar system's interconnection to the PG&E grid, you get a true-up statement that reconciles all the charges and credits you received over the past year. If you have a balance remaining, it tells you what amount is due. If you have a credit remaining, it's reset to zero and nothing is owed. It also indicates if you're eligible for net surplus compensation if you generated more energy than you consumed in total over the year. But whatever kind of solar household or business you are, there's one more thing to know. Everyone with solar can save money on energy while they're making a difference for the environment. That's just a quick look at what you can expect when you're a solar and renewables PG&E customer. For more detailed information, please read further on this page. And from all of us at PG&E, thanks for your commitment to a future powered by clean energy.
All right. Pretty good, huh?
It was. So I could make money with my solar panels? Is that what?
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. Let me explain that. So you don't really make money. Maybe if you were paying attention to the video, you realize you're not really making money, Zach, but you're earning credits. No, just to recap, how it works is that so during the day, you're going to generate more electricity than you consume, especially during the summer. And what you're going to do then is you're going to take the excess energy. If you have a battery, you're going to fill your battery. But then any excess beyond that, you're going to send back to the grid where it spins your meter backwards and you're earning credits. Then at night, when the sun is down and you're not generating any energy, if you're not using your battery, you're going to be pulling back from those credits. So as long as we build your system properly, we size it correctly, at the end of the year when you have a true-up statement, you're going to have a slight credit rather than a bill. So it's not like a gold mine where you're going to be making a bunch of money off the electric company, but the goal here is to make sure that you don't have a bill at the end of the year. Does that make sense?
That does, yeah. Thanks for clearing that up.
Excellent, yeah. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, so that's called net energy metering, and that's my job to design the system properly for you and your family and your guys' needs. So how does solar work with a battery? Well, as we said, during the day, you're going to be producing energy, you're going to be consuming. The excess energy, what it's going to do is it's going to send it down to an inverter and put it into the battery before it sends it back to the grid, and that's where you're going to have the excess. when the electricity goes out, as long as you have a battery, you're going to still be able to keep some key essential appliances on. So you will have power, but it's not power to where you're blasting AC throughout the day. You got all the lights on. You definitely still want to conserve your electricity during that time. So, you know, one battery can keep some lights on, keep your refrigerator and your freezer so you don't lose $1,000 worth of food. You know, your Wi-Fi so you can still get work done, and for emergency communications. But like I said, you're going to want to keep it down, not having all your lights on, having the AC going, maybe not running the dishwasher at that time. Does that make sense?
It does. So what if I wanted to run my AC off the battery?
You could. It's just not going to last very long. And it depends on how much, you know, electricity that your AC load, you know, that it pulls. But once again, I just wouldn't recommend it. Maybe put in a fan at that time. It's not meant for that. Now, you can get multiple batteries if you want to do that, but batteries are also expensive. So that is something to consider.
Okay.
So, so we talked about the production of the electricity in your system. The inverter that we use is a Solar Edge inverter. It is actually the #1 inverter used in the world. It has a beautiful award-winning app that you can download into your phone, to your tablet. It's going to show the production of your system, what times of the day, how many kilowatt hours you're producing. And from there, you can compare it to what you're using and make sure you're staying within that range. Okay, so you're going to get the Solar Edge app with your system. This right here is an example of a bill of someone, you know, before they went solar and then after. As you can see here, every single month that, you know, there's a charge and shows how many kilowatt hours that they are consuming. Once they went solar, it flips. And now they are earning credit every single month. And at the end, you know, some months are going to earn, some months are going to pull, but at the end of the year, hopefully the goal is for you to have a credit so you don't have a bill. Speaking of bills, though, you are still going to have about a $10 to $12 interconnection charge to the utility company because you are still tied to the grid. So they do charge you a minimum about 10, 12 bucks just being connected to the utility company. Okay, they get you somehow, right? Most solar companies, or I'm sorry, most solar systems do require a 200 amp panel. Do you know the size of your main electrical panel?
I don't know.
If you want to do me a favor, do you want to go take a look at it really quick, open it up and take a picture of it? You can text it to me and I can tell you what you have. So right now, this is where I get the customers involved, right? So now they've gone through this. They're like, what kind of panel do I have? So they're going to go out, pull up the electrical panel. We're on the phone. They're texting it to me. And that way I can see it and I can quickly add it into the proposal if I need it or not. So, you know, in this role play, we'll just assume, hey, I have a 200 amp panel. So excellent. That's not something you're going to have to worry about. If it was something, we'd be able to add that on. No worries.
Okay.
Now, what if I sell my home? That is one of the most common questions when it comes to solar. Now, you guys have been in here relatively recently. How long do you guys plan on living in your home, Zach?
Well, I'd say a minimum 5 years, but 5-10 years probably.
5 to 10 years. Okay, yeah, excellent. And, you know, that's about the average, especially here in California. And so people ask, well, what if I sell my home and I have solar? What's great is this isn't, you know, solar of even just a few years ago where you hear those horror stories where there's a lien on the property and the taxes and you can't sell the house without it. If you decide to finance, it is a personal loan that is transferable. So if you sell your home, as long as the person has a 650 FICO or more, and if they're buying your home, I'm assuming that they do, you'd be able to transfer it over seamlessly. So no worries there. The other option is obviously when you add solar to your house, it does increase value. It is a value add, and you can take the proceeds and sell off the system. And now when you're selling your home, you're selling a home with fully paid off solar. It's a solar home now. And obviously that's going to sell faster and go for more money than other homes. How do they determine that value? They actually add about $5,900 per kilowatt for the size of your system. They take that, so the actual equipment value, but then also the value of the monthly savings every single month. You know, that it's an actual asset as opposed to a liability where you're just paying every single month in, month out to your electric company. You're not getting anything for it. With this, that money you're paying, it's like when you buy a home, you know, your monthly rent, you're actually buying an asset rather than paying off someone else's mortgage. Does that make sense?
So how would I know how much value solar would bring to my house?
Well, as I mentioned, it's going to be the value of the money savings monthly plus the value of the actual equipment. And I'm going to get into that here during the proposal as well. We'll go over your size system and what it's worth.
Okay.
Department of Energy says homes with solar sell faster. And it is one of the best ROIs that you can get these days over a 20-year period, even more so than 5-year CDs bonds and the S&P 500. So, you know, when you go solar, it is one of the only investments, you know, that you actually make or save more money as time goes on. Yes, you're going to start saving money day one, but 5 years from now, you're going to be saving even more money than you were today, in 10 years, and so on and so on. Okay. So what's the bottom line? Zach, we offer a 0 down option. So literally you pay nothing out of pocket. You start saving day one. It increases the value of your home. You have a fixed energy cost, which is predictable. You know what you're paying every single month. And now you are energy independent. You own your own energy. All right. So what's next? What's next is we're going to go ahead and review the proposal that I put together for you. If everything looks good with the numbers, you like it, the idea of going solar, the next step from there is to get you qualified for the loan. And then as long as you qualify, we schedule the site survey where we go out there and measure your roof and start working on final design. Sound good?
Yeah, it does.
All right, excellent. So from there, I'm going to hit exit over here and I'm going to hop right over to the proposal. First thing I do when I go to the proposal, just a good practice, is I make sure the spelling of his name is correct. Now, this doesn't say Zach, but Zach's now Andrew. So, Andrew, is this the correct spelling of your name, address, phone number, and email address?
It is, yeah. I usually go by Zach, though, but that's correct on mine.
Oh, is Andrew is Zach your middle name? We just go by Zach?
It is. Yeah.
There we go. Andrew Zach Mullen. Very good. All right. Well, as long as this is the correct spelling and everything, this right here is the design that we went ahead and put together for the usage of your home. So this system is made up, this is an 11.55 kW system made up of 33 Hanwha Q-cell panels. Hanwha are incredible panels. They're actually one of the #1 panels in the world. They're German engineered, produced right here in the USA, in Georgia. They have a 25-year warranty out of the box. We back it. Remember, we extend that out to a 30-year warranty. This is also going to produce 17,000, almost 18,000 kilowatt hours annually. And you are going to have the Solar Edge Energy Hub to go along with it, as well as an LG Chem battery for backup. We went over the numbers. This is a graph of your current consumption month by month. If you were to use the exact amount of energy that you consumed last year, with this system, we're going to produce 109% of what you consume. This combined with the battery, you are expected to not have a bill at the end of the year, right? It's going to cover it as long as you stay conservative within that number. Before
9%, is that a little bit of overkill? Why would I need 9 extra?
109%. Well, it's going to be a little excess. I mean, for one, when people go solar, the first thing that they do is they think they have unlimited energy, and they just tend to use a little bit more. Actually, my mentor has a really funny YouTube video that he goes and meets with the client, and he goes there and he's putting on a puff coat. It's like freezing snow in the house because the guy just thinks that he can use all the electricity that he wants. It's not like that. Don't be that guy. But yeah, we do want to oversize the system a little bit to give you some buffer room. Now, let me ask you, Zach, do you think, in the future, you're going to be using more energy that you used in the past or less, or right about the same?
Probably a little bit more. I'll have my AC on a little bit longer, and yeah, I mean, that's right now we're conserving so much energy just because our bills are so high.
Okay, excellent. Well, this is a dynamic proposal tool where we're able to add panels right here on the fly. See, what they do is a max fit design. And from there, we can add a few extra panels if you'd like. So, you know, if we were to add one right here, and then maybe add a couple right here, this is going to bring you to 122% offset. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Okay. All right. That's good for your needs.
let's see what those
All
numbers
right.
look like for sure.
All right. So this is 100. That's going to give you 122% offset. So for how much you consume, you average about 26 cents per kilowatt. That's what you're paying every single month, month in, month out. You're averaging your average bill is $355 over the course of the year when we tallied up your bills. We have a tremendous financing option. This is our most popular. It's a 20-year, 1.49% interest. Over the 20 years, you're going to have a flat bill of $272 per month. $272, that's a flat bill. That's a savings of $75 per month. That's over almost $900 per year that you're going to be saving starting day one.
So I'll save about
How's that
70, 80 bucks a month. Not bad.
Yeah, about $960 per year. And then now with that being said, you're going to get the federal, the government's giving you a federal tax credit of $15,746. They assume that you're going to be using that towards the principal of your system. Now it's up to you what you want to do with it. But as long as you put that $15,000 towards the principal of your system, at that month 19, it re-amortizes one time, and it's going to stay at the $272 for the remainder of the terms. If you decide to put the 15 grand in your pocket, head to Mexico, redo the cabinets, whatever, pay off some bills, you're free to do that. Your bill then is just $353. It's still exactly what you're paying now, but you put 15 grand in your pocket. Sound good?
Okay, so I need to use the tax credit and put it back towards my loan?
Yeah, you don't have to, but as long as you do, it's going to keep that low bill at $272. Or you choose to keep it, it's $353. It's exactly what you're paying, but you got more power, more energy, and you put 15 grand in your pocket, and you're going green. You don't have to decide that right now. You have up to 18 months to decide that. Okay.
Okay.
So that's what it looks like with a battery. If you weren't wanting to do a battery, if that's not important to you, the other option is, and let me show you, and this right here, you guys, is a trick that you can do on Zoom. If you just hit the pause share button down at the bottom where you're presenting, it'll pause your screen. They won't be able to see anything you're doing. From there, you can swap right over to here, head over to adders, pop this off, hit update. And then you hit resume share. I say now, Mr. Haines, if you wanted to go ahead with this system, now you're looking at, without the battery, you're looking at $218 a month, saving you $130 a month. I'm thinking with the savings over this next course of next year, Christmas won't be so thin next year. What do you think?
Yeah, make some fake snow in the backyard for the kids.
There you go. So with that being said, Mr. Haines or Mr. Wallen, would you like to go with the battery or without the battery? Which one sounds best?
So a battery would be about, give or take, 50 bucks extra a month.
Something, yeah, about that. Are you worried? Does the idea of having backup power in the event of an outage, is that appealing to you?
Yeah, I'm in PG&E, and they like to mess with our electricity all the time. But 218, that sounds pretty good too. So might be something I have to think about between the two of those.
Yeah, well, which one sounds best?
Man, the battery, I'm saving money right off the bat. Let's kind of see let's do that. But here's the thing though, I mean, aren't these things pretty expensive? What happens, down the line, if I do want to sell and I still have this loan, what if we do move in 5 years?
Yeah, well, if you were paying attention about 15 slides earlier, Mr. Customer, as I was saying, that the loan is assumable, right? So if you guys are, let's say in a couple of years you decide to sell your home and you have that $250 payment, well, the average person buying this home is going to be having a $350 electric bill anyway. They would be able to just take over the loan. It's completely assumable.
Well, what happens if they don't want to take over a new loan? Because
you have two options. One, that you can pay off the proceeds with the added value of your home, which in this case, we're looking at over $53,000 value add. Or two, they don't buy the home. So a couple different options. It's up to you to put it in the sales contract.
53,000 value. That's the numbers for my house?
That's correct. That's the
Wow.
added value with this. And, we're looking after the tax credit, you're looking at a next system cost of $44,000, instantly gaining equity. So would you want to go with the battery or without?
I think we might as well do the battery, right? I'm saving money right off the bat.
Right, excellent. So we'll go ahead and we're going to add that battery. And mind you, I would pause this. So I'm going to add the LG Chem. I go to the solar interface. I hit update. Great. So you're looking at the monthly payment of the $272. The next step is to get you qualified, and then to schedule out the site survey. And Zach, if I can get your date of birth, boom, and then I'm going right into assumptive close.
Okay. Good
Nice job,
man.
Jarrett. What's the commission on that bad boy? 11, 12 grand, I think I saw.
Let's see here.
The battery.
15,540. Yeah, so about a 12 grand.
Yeah, about 12 grand. Battery would add some more margin as well. So just takes one house like this, guys, to earn over $12,000, $13,000. Good job.
And this is actually coming from a mentee that I'm a mentor on. He came, knocked on the door, generated the lead. We tag teaming up on this, putting an extra $6 grand in our pockets for a nice hour presentation. Christmas is looking fat this year. All right.
If you need to sign me as a mentee, I'm available for this project.
So you guys, I know this went a little bit long, but hopefully you guys got some value out of it. That is essentially how I do my presentation every single time. I know we're having a little bit of fun in there, and we're navigating, right? I mean, every sale is different. There's different personalities. You're getting different vibes, different needs, different size systems, different situations. But that's where you, as the business professional, the sales professional, that's why you earn the big bucks, right? You're able to navigate those seas. And then at the end, but always close. Ask for the business every single time. And then one last thing is, when I go for the close and they say no, that's where my job, that's when it begins, right? That's where I start to earn my money, is after they say no the first time and overcoming the objections and hammer. Anybody can do this presentation that we just laid out. It's just practice. But really, working on your closing skills, that's what gets you paid. That's where you start working as a sales professional.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys.
I'd like to add one little nugget that I like to do with my closes as well, because people want to look at value. They see the monthly savings, right? Let's go real quick where it shows what they pay currently and what their bill is. So I like to show people, so Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, you're paying $355, and I'll get a calculator out and I'll actually show them let's look at some real apples numbers. You pay $355 a month, so let's times that by 12. And let's say that you're going to be, in your house for another 15 years. So let's times that by 15. So do you realize that if your rates don't go up, if they stay the same, which we already know they're going up, you're going to be paying PG&E, SoCal Edison, what have you, almost $64,000 regardless. That's coming out of your pocket just to keep your lights on. And if you look at the cost of the system versus what you're going to be paying out, would you like to have an unlimited bill that's going to keep going up and up? Or would you like to know that you're spending your money in an investment in your home that's going to add value to your home, but also save you money on a month-to-month basis? And then I scroll down to show them what the system costs versus what they're already going to be paying out of their pocket. So I was like, that's what you're going to be paying in 15 years. This is going to be $56,000 net over 20 years. What do you think makes more sense? When I show them those numbers, that's
a no-brainer.
Wow.
It's a no-brainer.
And the 4% slider too. Don't forget to slide that over to 15 years on the 4% slider.
All right.
Boom.
Slider.
4% increase per year. You'll be at $600 in 15 years, conservatively.
So with that being said, yeah, that's the end of our presentation as far as, you know, the steps to a sale. Hopefully you guys all got this, you know, great value out of it. And then from there, Jonathan, how about we open it up to Q&A?
Yeah, let me just wrap this up. I'll stop recording. Jarrett, Zach, you guys are amazing. You know, when I first got started, going on ride-alongs and listening to people's presentations and picking up nuggets, even hearing you right now, Jarrett, and seeing some of your slides, the whole reason we're on here, guys, is to pick up the nuggets, to pick up the one-liners, to pick up the verbiage, see how Jarrett's so successful. And when you're chatting, knocking doors, talking to that friend at the family table, getting someone to go solar, you now have, you know, an artillery of words and things to say and knowledge just from listening to this video. So awesome job, guys. Let me go ahead and stop the recording and we'll do some Q&A.